Shalom, peace and love, shalom, peace and love, peace and love, shalom. I'll be reading from the book of Psalms, chapter 40 to 42. And I'm going from Psalms to the book of Proverbs, chapter 2. And then from Proverbs to the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 4. Bear with me as I try to get through this, y'all willing. Book of Psalms, chapter 40, verse 1. I waited for Yahuwah, and he inclined to me and heard my cry. So this is David expressing how he waited and waited and waited for Yahuwah, waited for God, waited for the Most High, and the Most High inclined to him and heard his cry. So in order to be heard by the Most High, you got to humble yourself and cry out, man. You got to humble yourself and cry, man. You really need to be heard by the Most High. You got to fall on your face and cry out. It must not be that bad if you ain't crying out. Don't cry to flesh and blood. Don't cry to nobody in the flesh. Cry to the Most High. Cry to your Creator. Cry to the one who created you. That's who you need to be crying to. Don't cry to nobody in the flesh. Cry to the one who created you. Verse 2. And he drew me out of the pit of destruction, out of the muddy clay, and he set my feet upon a rock. He is establishing my steps. He is establishing my steps. This is where we want to be, to the point the Most High is establishing our steps. If he's not establishing our steps, then we're establishing our steps, and we're like we walking the wrong way. We walking in the wrong direction, and yeah, that's going to lead us to somewhere we don't want to be. Verse 3. Then he put a new song in my mouth. Praise to our Elohim. Many do see it in fear and trust in Yahuwah. So a new song. We see that the Most High put songs in the mouth of David. So let's not get music, twisted. Let's not get songs twisted. Let's not let's not you know let's not be too let's not get too much on songs, like as far as like to be too much of a critic on songs, because the Most High is the one who put those songs in the mouth. He put those songs in the mouths of David. So if those songs are uplifting and praising him for the most part, or giving someone insight, his knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, they like, let's not do it. Let's not you know do too much criticizing the songs, because it may be from the Most High. Those songs may be from the Most High. I'm just saying. Verse 4. Blessed is that man who has made Yahuwah his trust and has not turned to the proud and those turning aside to falsehood. So blessed is the one who has made the Most High, his trust. That's what I meant by, like, don't be crying out, don't be crying to flesh. Don't be crying out to someone in the flesh. Don't be crying out to people, period. I don't care who it is. Don't cry out to nobody. Cry. If you're going to cry out to somebody, cry to the Most High. Cry out to the Most High. Cry out to the one who created you. If you're going to cry out to anyone, cry out to the one who created you, the only one who can do something about it. Don't go crying to flesh and blood. Don't go crying. Don't go crying to nobody walking in the flesh. I don't care. I'm talking about all people. Don't go crying to nobody but the Most High. That should be the only one you go crying to. That should be the only one we should be going crying to. Nobody else. And when we do that, that shows that we trust him and nobody else. It says, blessed is the man who has made Yahuwah his trust and has not turned to the proud. Has not turned to the proud. Most people are proud. It's no getting around it. Most people are proud. So it's like it's no point to turn to someone that's proud. Most people are proud. They have egos. They have pride. They have, you know, they're petty. They're secretly jealous. They secretly envious. You don't want to, and it's the flesh. It's not them. It's the flesh. So they can't help it. So you don't want to be crying or trusting anyone like this. You don't want to trust in, in mere men and women, because they all have these emotional, fleshly, you know, um, emotions with them. They got flesh emotions with them that you just can't trust. You got to trust the Most High. You got to turn to the Most High, not turn to the proud, not turn to those, it says, and those turning aside to falsehood. Most people are in falsehood and don't even know they're in falsehood. Most people are in falsehood, don't even know they're in falsehood. They truly believe what they believe is, you know what I mean, is it in they truly believe they know, because it's they don't believe because they did their research. They don't believe because they opened the books and read all the way through and kept reading and read it again and read it again. They don't believe because of that. They believe because it was passed down to their mom or dad from their grandmother and grandfather. Then it was then this belief was system was passed down to them, and then they passed it down to their children. You know what I mean? So this is what's going on right now. So you gotta trust in the Most High. You gotta trust in the unseen Supreme Spirit, your Creator, the Almighty. Turn to Him. Verse 5. O Yahuwah, my Elohim, many are the wonders which you have done, and your purposes towards us. There is no one to compare with you. I declare and speak, they are too many to be numbered. These wonders are too many to be numbered. You can't compare them to anyone. You can't compare the Most High work, the Most High wonders, the Most High miracles to anyone. And His Son, the wonders of His Son and the miracles of His Son are the same. They're one and the same. That was the work of His Father. Anything that was done was the work of His Father. Any miracle that was done was the work of His Father. So it was no comparison. Verse 6. Slaughterings and meal offerings you did not desire. You have opened my ears, and ascending offerings and sin offerings you did not ask for. Here we go. Here we go. He didn't ask for these sin offerings. He didn't ask for these meal offerings, these slaughterings, these ascending offerings. This is a clear example. This is a clear indication that in the Old Testament, this is where he started to put he basically started to put an end to these offerings, these slaughterings, and these sin offerings, and all this stuff like that. And this is where he had the idea. He made up his mind that he was sending his only begotten son. Always, it was in the Psalms where the Most High already knew that he was sending his only begotten son to be the ultimate sacrifice. It was in the Psalms. Because here we read, he's telling, like, yo, he's speaking through David, telling them, like, yo, I didn't ask for no slaughterings. I didn't ask for no meal offerings. I did not desire it. You know what I mean? Did not ask for sin offerings and ascending offerings. I didn't ask for this. So this is a clear indication that he already had in his mind that he was going to send his only begotten son to be the ultimate sacrifice. So that's what I mean by the scriptures don't contradict itself. This is a clear indication, clear example, clear indication that the Bible, the scriptures don't contradict itself. So when people are confused on how he's the ultimate sacrifice, how he's the sacrifice, and they don't do sacrifices anymore. Well, if you knew the scriptures, that was already established in the Old Testament. That was already established in Psalms. We see here, it was already established. And I need to mark this down. It was already established in the Psalms. Like, I don't desire these offerings. I didn't desire these offerings. Verse 7. Then I said, see, I have come. In the scroll of the book, it is prescribed for me. In the scroll of the book, it is prescribed for me. Verse 8. I have delighted to do your pleasure, O my Elohim, and your Torah is within my heart. So you have to delight to do his pleasure. You have to delight to do his to follow his instructions. You have to take delight in that. Pat yourself on the back. Take pride in that. Take pride in following his instructions. Try to find joy in following his instructions. Try to be proud and happy. That's something to be proud about. You know what I mean? It truly is. Because all it is like you're treating others how you want to be treated. So you should take pride in treating others how you would want to be treated. And your Torah is within my heart. You have to have his instructions within your heart. That's his Torah. Torah means instructions. His instructions should be in our hearts. Verse 9, I have proclaimed the good news of righteousness in the great assembly. See, I did not restrain my lips. O Yahuwah, you know. So he said he proclaimed the good news of righteousness in the great assembly. How is this any different than what the Messiah came along and proclaimed? The good news, right? The good news of instructions of his father. The good news that the kingdom is coming. That's the good news. That's the good news that the only begotten son came along and proclaimed. The good news is like the ice cream man is coming, the kingdom is coming. Just like kids get excited that the ice cream man is coming, we all should be excited that the kingdom is coming. It's good news. That's the good news. But here we read David is speaking about the good news of righteousness. He said, I have proclaimed the good news of righteousness in the great assembly. So this is him in the assembly, assembling of people, proclaiming the good news of the instructions of God, the commandments of God, because that's the righteousness is the commandments, and those who you know those who obey the commandments. How do we know this? Deuteronomy chapter 6, verse 24 to 25. That's how we know our righteousness is his commandments. And in the great assembly. See, I do not restrain my lips, O Yahuwah. You know, I do not restrain my lips. You know, like he's David is saying, like, yo, you know, I don't bite my tongue. You know, I don't hold no nothing back. You know, I have held nothing back. I proclaim your instructions before the assembly, before a great people. Didn't hold anything back. Didn't bite my tongue. This is what David is saying. And he's like, you know. And this is the book of Psalms, by the way, the book of Psalms, chapter 40. The book of Psalms, chapter 40, by the way. Verse 10. I did not conceal your righteousness within my heart. I have declared your trustworthiness and your deliverance. I did not hide your loving commitment and your truth from the great assembly. He's saying, I did not conceal the righteousness, his instructions. He did not conceal the Most High's instructions in his heart. Like he didn't keep those commandments to himself. He didn't keep those commandments to himself. I have declared your trustworthiness and your deliverance. So he's like, he declared it to people, his testimony, and how the Most High is to be trusted. The Most High is to be trusted of all, before all, and of all. He declared that. And he declared that the Most High delivers before all and above all. He delivers. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 40, verse 10. I did not conceal your righteousness within my heart, like I didn't keep your commandments to myself. I have declared your trustworthiness and your deliverance. Like I let it be known that you're the one you're the one to be trusted, and you're the one who delivers. You're the one who saves. I did not hide your loving commitment and your truth. Like I did not hide how committed you were to those who are committed to you. Even when those are not so committed to you, you are still committed. And the truth, like he did not hide the truth from the great assembly. So he's basically this large amount of people. He did not keep this stuff. He did not keep this to himself. He let it be known. He let it be known who the Most High was and what he was about, and what he and you know and what he was capable of, what he does, just by being the supreme spirit, almighty creator of all things. Verse 11. Do not withhold your compassion from me, O Yahuwah. Let your loving commitment and your truth always watch over me. So this is David humbling himself and asking the Most High, do not withhold the compassion. You know, it's okay to ask that. David shows that it's okay to ask the Most High to not withhold his compassion. It's okay to ask. It's okay to speak. It truly is. It's okay to vent to the Most High. Let your loving commitment and your truth always watch over me. Verse 12. For evils without number have surrounded me. My crookedness have overtaken me, and I have been unable to see. They became more than the hairs of my head, and my heart has failed me. So this is him confessing. This is David confessing, like, yo, evils without number have surrounded me. Like evils without number, like he can't even put a number to the evils that surround him. He can't put a number to the evils that surrounded him. This is what he's confessing. surrounded himself with evils. His crookedness have overtaken him. So he's admitting that he has crookedness. His flesh has crookedness, and it has overtaken him. This is him confessing this. This is him admitting this and confessing this. My crookedness have overtaken me. And everyone in the flesh, everyone's flesh is crooked. Don't fool yourself. Everyone's flesh is crooked. Everyone's flesh is working tirelessly to overtake it, the spirit, overtake it, control. Everyone's flesh is working tirelessly to have full control over you and crash out. So this is what David is confessing and admitting to. My crookedness have overtaken me, and I have been unable to see. They became more than the hairs of my head, and my heart has failed me. His heart, because your heart is the flesh as well. So he's admitting that his heart has failed him. The flesh of his heart, the crookedness of his heart has failed him. And this is what the heart would do. The heart desires what it desires. The heart desires what the flesh wants. The heart desires what the flesh seeks, craves. Got to be honest with yourself. Got to be honest with yourself first. You can't be honest with anybody until you're honest with yourself first. You can't be honest with anybody until you're honest with yourself first. And this is David. This is David, and you know what I mean. He's David is the epitome of this. He's the example. Verse 13. Be pleased, O Yahuwah, to deliver me. O Yahuwah, hasten to help me. So he's like, man, he's asking the Most High to be pleased to deliver him. He's asking the Most High to hasten to helping him. He's asking for the Most High help. This is him humbly asking, and it's documented. You know, he had to go about this. He had to go about writing this down. You know, he went about writing it down because that's he had to get this out. And then it's a blessing that he did write this down because we have it as an example this today. We have it as an example. We have it as prophecy. We have it as, the Most High speaking through him. Verse 14, let those who seek to destroy my life be ashamed and abashed altogether. Let those who are desiring my evil be driven back and put to shame. This is what David is asking him, man. Like, let those who seek it to destroy my life be ashamed and abashed altogether. Let those who are desiring my evil be driven back and put to shame. We all ask this. Verse 15. Let those who say to me, aha, aha, be appalled at their own shame. So let them be ashamed themselves. Let it fall back on them. Let their aha moments be a aha to themselves. Verse 16, let all those who seek you rejoice and be glad in you. Let those who love your deliverance always say, Yahuwah be exalted. So he's saying, let all those who seek you rejoice and be glad in you. Let it be. Amen. Let those who love your deliverance always say, Yahuwah be exalted. You got to love his deliverance. And you got to truly know what his deliverance, you got to count those deliverance, those times he saved you, those times he saved your life, those times he saved you out, he saved you He saved your freedom, saved you from, you know, anything that you could have went through that you would have likely not, you know, liked the outcome. You may have you got to count those blessings, man, and exalt the Most High. Verse 17, but I am poor and needy. Let Yahuwah think upon me. You are my help and my deliverer. O my Elohim, do not delay. Do not delay. I am poor and needy. It doesn't get any more humbling than that. He's humble enough to admit that he's poor and needy. Let Yahuwah think upon me. You are my help and my deliverer. O my Elohim, do not delay. Humble yourself. Humble yourself. Humble yourself, man. If you can't be humble in the privacy of your own home and humble yourself and put all ego and pride aside to fall on your face before your creator, I don't know. I don't know what you're doing. I don't know what you're doing. You think of yourself so much that you can't fall, you can't, you know, fall on your face and cry out to the most high. You think of yourself that much, you full of yourself that much that you can't fall on your face and cry out to the most high and vent to him and confess where in your guilt and confess where you were wrong and know where you were wrong and ask for help. If you can't do that, you got work to do, man. You ain't at that point. You got work to do. You got too you full of the flesh. You got too much of the flesh. You know what I'm saying? You too full of the flesh that you can't humble yourself to let your knee bow, man, in the privacy of your own home. And I'm not talking about in front of everybody. I'm talking about in private. You can't do this in private. You got a problem. You got a problem, man. Chapter 41, verse 1. Blessed is he who considers the poor. Yahuwah does deliver him in a day of evil. So blessed is he who considers the poor. Considering the poor is basically, you know, having empathy, having compassion, considering what they may need, considering how they may feel. When you do this and do it in secret so no one is to know about it, you're blessed. Blessed is he who considers the poor. Yahuwah does deliver him in the day of evil. You can count on that. You can count on to be delivered when you need to be delivered. You can count on to be saved from out of, rescue out of whatever situation you're in, you know, if you're one who considers the poor. You consider the needs of the poor. You consider the conditions of the poor, the livelihood of the poor. In secret, though. In secret, though. That's key. That's key. Verse 4, Yahuwah does guard him and keep him alive. He is blessed on the earth. So one who considers the poor, the Most High does guard him and keep him alive. He is blessed on the earth, and you do not hand him over to the desire of his enemies. He don't hand people like that over to their enemies. People who people who consider the poor, he don't let them get caught up in those, you know, you know, he don't let them get caught up in those sticky situations. He don't let his people get caught up in sticky situations. So it's important to consider the poor, the lowest of people. Consider the lowest of people. You know what I mean? Because consider the lowest of people, and you can find yourself being considered by the Most High to the point you know you getting yourself out of sticky situations that you ain't put yourself in, that you ain't asked for. He's not get. It's not you getting yourself about those situations. It's the Most High getting you out of those situations. All because you consider the poor. All because you're one who consider the livelihood of the poor, of the homeless, of the lowest of the people. He blessed. He is blessed. He says Yahuwah does guard him and keep him alive. He keeps people like this alive. Keeps people like this alive. He is blessed on the earth. Verse 3, Yahuwah sustains him on his sick bed. In his weakness on his bed, you bring a change. It's, so yeah, this is what the Most High, this is what the Most High is. I don't expect I don't expect everybody to what this, you know what this feels like. I don't expect everybody to even identify or to be able to recognize, what happened in their lives. And, I don't expect them to trace that back to the Most High or give the credit to the Most High. People, everyone has been delivered at least once in their lives, rescued at least once in their lives by the Most High. And most people give the credit to, oh, I was lucky. There's no luck, man. It's just the creator. It's just the creator. It's just the Most High. It was him. He had plans for you. And I don't expect everyone to see that. I don't expect everyone to credit him for that. Verse 3, Yahuwah sustains him on his sick bed. In his weakness on his bed, you bring a change. Verse 4, as for me, I said, O Yahuwah, show me favor, heal me, for I have sinned against you. So here we go again. Here we go again. David is admitting his sin that he sinned against the Most High. Here we go again. That David is confessing that he has sinned against the Most High. Here we go again. This is David. This is David confessing how he sinned against the Most High. You got to be humble enough to admit that and understand that your flesh is filthy. Our flesh is filthy. Our flesh have sinned and has issues. Verse 5, Verse 5, my enemies speak evil of me. When he dies, his name shall perish. Verse 6, and when one comes to visit, he speaks falsely. His heart gathers wickedness to itself. He goes out, he speaks of it. This is what most people are doing. Speaking falsely, heart gathering wickedness to itself. He goes out and he speaks of it. Verse 7, all who hate me whisper together against me. They plot evil to me, saying, verse 8, a matter of Belial is poured out on him, that when he lies down, he would not rise again. These are people who like basically prey on your downfall, wish something doesn't go well for you, wish that something happens to you. They secretly want to see you fail. They secretly want to see you, you know, be set back. They want to feel right. They want to be validated. They want to feel like their way was, you know, the better choice, the better option. Verse 9, even my own friend in whom I trusted, who ate my bread, has lifted up his heel against me. Even your own friends, even your own friends you ate with, you fed, lift up their heels against you. Verse 10, but you, Yahuwah, show me favor and raise me up and let me repay them. I can't blame him for thinking like this. This is in David's time, it was that was the way to go about it, was to take matters in your own hand. People in David's time, they were used, that's what they were used to. It wasn't till it wasn't, I'm not going to say, the Most High always said that vengeance is his. Vengeance shall always be his, even before his son came along. But when his son came along, when his only begotten son came along, he was the one who said, yo, like, like, let the Most High handle it. Love your enemies, pray for those persecuting you, you know, just to show yourself different. Verse 11, by this I know that you did delight in me, because my enemies does not shout for joy over me. Praise Yah. All glory be to Yah. Verse 12, and you hold me up, and you uphold me in my integrity, and set me before your face forever. So it's the integrity he upholds you in. You have integrity, you demonstrate integrity. These are the ones he upholds, because he can trust that you, you know, he'll back you. He'll what's the word? The Most High will back those who demonstrate integrity. He'll vouch for those who demonstrate integrity. trying to find I'm trying to remember the R word. You know, the R word is basically, giving someone your approval or giving someone your recommendation. Yeah, like basically, yeah, like he's putting his stamp on whoever demonstrates integrity. This is what he does. This is what he does. Verse 13, blessed be Yahuwah, Elohim of Yisrael, from everlasting to everlasting. Amen and amen. Chapter 42, verse 1. As a deer longs for the water streams, so my being longs for you, O Elohim. Verse 2. My being thirsts for Elohim, for the living El. When shall I enter in to appear before Elohim? So the being is your spirit. Your being is the ruach, your ruach within you. Your breath of life, ruach, your breath of life, spirit within you. That's what should be longing for the Most High. That's what does long for the Most High. You may not notice it, and you may drown it out by letting your flesh, override it, letting your flesh take the wheel, letting your flesh, being more invested in your flesh and thinking your true identity is your flesh. You have most people who think that their true identity is their flesh and has something to do with their you know the tone of their skin. That's it's that's flesh. And if you're more invested in that, you won't you won't have a clue who you truly are. People think that their identity is in their bloodline. Their identity is in their roots. Their identity is in their ancestry. And no, your identity is not in that. Your identity is in your ruach, your spirit, your breath of life, spirit within you. You're either a spiritual child of Yah, or you're invested in being a child of man, which is a child of the enemy. You're a child of the liar. You know what I mean? It's you're either in the flesh or you're in the ruach. Your identity is in either in your flesh or your ruach. And if your identity is in your ruach and the spirit, then you know all about your flesh. You know your flesh is wicked. You know your flesh is crooked. You know your flesh is tainted. You know your flesh is all that. And you have to put you know, you have to put a cap on it. You have to put a leash on it. Or else it's going to put a leash on you. It's going to hinder the ruach within you, the spirit within you. Verse 3. My tears have been my food day and night, while they say to me all day, where is your Elohim? This is this is what the flesh be asking the spirit, like, where is your Elohim? Because the flesh is invested in the flesh. What's for the flesh, made for the flesh, made by the flesh. The flesh desires of a flesh. The flesh desires what's for the flesh and what's made by the flesh. That's what the flesh desires. And the flesh, other flesh in your own flesh, tears are saying this: my tears have been my food day and night, while they say to me all day, where is your Elohim? This is what other fleshly people are asking. Where is your God? People who are invested in the flesh, in their ancestors and in flesh that came before them, that they're asking, where is your spiritual God? Where is your spiritual savior? Where is your spiritual creator? Verse 4. These I remember and pour out my being within me, for I used to pass along with the throng. For I used to pass along with the throng. I went with them to the house of Elohim with the voice of joy and praise, a multitude of celebrating a festival. Celebrating the festival. You got Pesach coming up, Passover coming up on the 13th. For me, according to the scriptures, according to, the biblical New Year being on the 31st, so 14 days later, which is the 13th, is the Passover. Then, unleavened bread that very day, following day, contrary to popular belief. Yeah, we have a festival coming up, a biblical festival. You know, you have others, most who have already celebrated on the first, but that's according to tradition, not according to, the scriptures, and how we are to tell time. Verse 5. Why are you depressed, O my being? And why are you depressed, O my being? And why are you restless within me? Wait for Elohim, for I shall yet thank him for the deliverance of his face. So this is David acknowledging the being within him is the spirit. He's acknowledging this. He's acknowledging this. Like he's asking his spirit, he's asking himself, his true identity. Why are you depressed, oh my being, meaning his spirit? He's speaking to his spirit. And why are you restless within me? Wait for Elohim, for I shall yet thank him for the deliverance of his face. Verse 6. O my Elohim, my being is depressed within me. Therefore I remember you from the land of the Yarden, and from the heights of Hermon, from Mount Mitzar. Verse 7. Deep calls to deep at the sound of your waterfalls. All your waves and breakers pass over me. Verse 8. By day, Yahuwah commands his loving commitment, and by night, his song is with me, a prayer to the El of my life. His song, the Most High song, is with me, a prayer to the El of my life, the God of my life. Verse 9. I say to El, my rock. I say to God, my rock, why have you forgotten me? That's what it feels like sometimes. It seemed like David was the only one to, admit this, that it feels like the Most High has forgotten. Why have you forgotten me? Why do I go mourning because of the oppression of the enemy? Why? Most people have the same thoughts as David, wondering why, wondering where the Most High is, wondering where the Most High Verse 10. With murder in my bones, my enemies have reproached me. Why they say to me all day long, where is your Elohim? This is what they're saying. This is what the unclean and the unbelievers are saying, and this is what they're asking. Where is your God? To this day. Verse 11. Why are you depressed, O my being? And why are you restless within me? Wait for Elohim, for I shall thank him, the deliverance of my face and my Elohim. Hallelujah, hallelujah, praise Yah. May all glory be to Yah. That was the book of Psalms. We're going to move to the book of Proverbs. Moving into the book of Proverbs, chapter 2. The book of Proverbs, chapter 2, verse 1. This is Solomon. This is Solomon there. This is the Most High speaking through Solomon. My son, if you accept my words and treasure up my commands with you, this is what this is what the Most High is speaking through Solomon, talking to his children, his spiritual children. If you accept my words and treasure up my commands within you, his commands, treasure up his commands within you, meaning memorize his commandments within you, meaning memorize his commandments within you. That's how you treasure up his commands, is to memorize his commandments within you, so that you make your ear attend to wisdom, incline your heart to understanding. So you treasure, you memorize these commandments to make your ear attend to wisdom, spiritual wisdom, to make your ear to give you an ear for people, like, you got, you know how people say they have an ear for music, or they have an ear for this, they, cars, and they can hear some sounds and stuff like that. You will have an ear for wisdom, an ear for spiritual wisdom, all wisdom. You will have an ear for spiritual wisdom and world wisdom. When you when you when you memorize his this water bottle is putting up a fight. When you memorize his commandments, it gives you access to his spiritual, to being able to identify and recognize spiritual wisdom when you hear it. When you hear it spoken. That's one. And then you'll incline your heart to understanding. So you'll start to understand spiritual wisdom. You start to you start to understand, you know, you'll have a heart of understanding everything there is to understand, the insight, the intuition. Stay with me. He's going to explain this. This is all, it all starts with you memorizing his commandments. It all starts with you memorizing his commandments. The spiritual wisdom and understanding, that's where it starts. That's what starts to show. Verse 3. For if you cry for discernment, lift up your voice for understanding. So if you cry for discernment, like Solomon cried, Solomon cried out for this. He cried out for this discernment. He lifted up his voice for understanding, and the Most High gave it to him. The Most High delivered. The Most High delivered this wisdom to the point he was the wisest man who lived in his time. So you have to humble yourself and cry out for this. You have to humble yourself, put your pride and ego aside in your privacy of your home, and cry out for this wisdom. Cry out for this discernment. Cry out for this understanding, this spiritual knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, this spiritual discipline, this spiritual discernment. It starts with you memorizing his commandments, though. Starts with you memorizing his commandments. It has to start there. It has to start there. Can't skip that. Can't disregard it. You can't, you know, ignore it. It has to start with memorizing his commandments. That's what gives you access to his spiritual gifts, like his spiritual wisdom, knowledge, understanding, and discernment. And you humbling yourself to cry out for it. You actually wanting it. You actually taking an initiative to put your ego pride aside and fall on your face in the privacy of your home and cry out for this spiritual knowledge, wisdom, and understanding with a heart full of his commands. With a heart full of his commands. With a heart full of his commandments, crying out to him for this spiritual knowledge, wisdom, understanding, and discernment in the privacy of your home. This is all he's asking you to do. This is all he's asking you to do. It's not asking you to do anything, you know, hard. It's not asking you to do this in front of a people. He's not asking you to do this in front of a congregation. He's not asking you to do this in front of an assembly. He's not asking you to do this in front of, you know, a building full of people. He's asking you to do this in the privacy of your home. That's how hard is that? To cry out for him, cry out to him and ask for the spiritual knowledge, wisdom, and understanding with a heart full of commandments and with a heart full of commandments, meaning a memory full of commandments, with me a top of mind full of commandments. If you seek her as silver, her meaning wisdom, spiritual wisdom, if you seek her as silver and search for her as hidden treasure, verse 5, then you would understand the fear of Yah and find the knowledge of Elohim, find the knowledge of God. This is the knowledge of God. What is the knowledge of God? The fear of God. What is the fear of God? We're going to later see that the fear of God is to hate evil. The book of Proverbs chapter 8 verse 13. That's the fear of God is to hate evil. And the fear of God to hate evil is the knowledge of God. So when you're hating evil, you have the knowledge of God. When you're hating evil, you have the knowledge of God. When you're hating evil, not just in others, not just in yourself, not just in the world, not just in others, but yourself also. When you hate this evil, you have the knowledge of God. When you begin hating evil, you have the knowledge of God. You not only have the knowledge of God, you have the fear of God. That's equivalent to the fear of God is to hate evil. That's equivalent to the knowledge of God is to hate evil. Then you'll get it. It's not that complicated. Then you'll get it. People aren't getting it because they love evil. People aren't getting it because they love evil. Our flesh loves evil. I can admit my flesh loves evil. I have to make it my duty as the spiritual wisdom that I'm saying the spiritual child of God within me has to make it his duty to hate the evil that my flesh loves. I have to make it my duty to hate the evil that my flesh loves. And everyone else has to make it their duty, their spiritual child within them duty to hate the evil that their flesh loves. Then you will understand the fear of Yah and find the knowledge of Elohim. Verse 6, for Yahuwah gives wisdom. Out of his mouth come knowledge and understanding. It's the Most High who gives wisdom. You're not born wise. You don't study to be wise. You're not, come on, man. Wisdom don't come through your world books. Wisdom don't come through that. Spiritual wisdom, that's God given. For Yahuwah gives wisdom. This is the book of Proverbs chapter 2 verse 6. For Yahuwah gives wisdom. Out of his mouth come knowledge and understanding. This is who gave this. This is the same God who gave the wisdom to Solomon. When Solomon cried out and asked for it. For Yahuwah gives wisdom. Out of his mouth come knowledge and understanding. Verse 7, and he treasures up stability for the straight, a shield to those walking blamelessly. He treasures up stability for the straight. He treasures up stability for in a shield to those walking blamelessly. He treasures up stability in the shield for those walking blamelessly. So when you're walking blamelessly, no one can point the finger and say, "Oh, you did this to me." No one. And I'm not talking about something you repented from. I'm talking about something that no one can say that you're doing this daily or all the time. Oh, you're responsible from stealing from me. You're responsible for false witnessing and lying on me, lying to me. No one can. That's what makes you blameless. When no one can say that you make a habit of lying to them. When no one can say that you make a habit of stealing from them. When no one can say that you make a habit of slandering them. No one can say that you make a habit of lying about them. No one can say that you make a habit of you know sleeping with their spouse. No one can say that you did it. Ooh, like you're responsible. It was your fault. That's what makes you blameless. That's what makes you. So who he treasure. This is who he treasures up stability for. People like this. People with integrity. People who treat others how they would want to be treated. People who treat others how they would want to be treated. He treasures up stability for them. And he's a shield to those. He's a shield to these people. He's a shield for these people. Verse 8, to watch over the paths of right ruling, and the way of his lovingly committed ones he guards. The way of his lovingly committed ones he guards. Those who are committed to walking blamelessly, those who are committed to walking in integrity, those who are committed to following his instructions, those who are committed to treating others how they would want to be treated, those who are committed to this. He watches over their paths. He watches over their paths. Verse 9. So when you have this, when you understand this, and when you're walking in this integrity, when you're walking blamelessly, when you're walking and treating others how you would want to be treated, when you're following his instructions, you're ruling over your flesh. This is what comes with it. It says, then you will understand righteousness. then you would understand righteousness. What is righteousness? I've demonstrated this so I understand righteousness. Righteousness is his commandments that he asks that you treasure up in him, in your heart. Same exactly what he asks, exactly what he asks through Solomon in the first verse. This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 2. First verse, my son, if you accept my words. What was his words? The words that he spoke in Exodus on Mount Sinai from the clouds. The words that he spoke himself from the clouds. The words that he spoke himself from the clouds, his commandments. These are his words that he's asking you to treasure up. To basically, treasure up means memorize. Memorize my commands within you. Fast forward, this is what happens when you memorize my commands within you. Then you would understand righteousness because righteousness is his commands. How do we know that? Deuteronomy chapter 6, verse 24 to 25. That's how we know that righteousness is his commands. That's how we know that righteousness is his commands. He's asking us to treasure them up. Then you would understand righteousness when you treasure up his commands, you will understand that his commands is righteousness, is our righteousness. Deuteronomy chapter 6, verse 24 to 25. Go look it up. That's our righteousness. Deuteronomy chapter 6, verse 24 to 25. Go look it up. That's our righteousness. So you'll begin to understand righteousness. You understand that his commands is his righteousness. His commandments is our righteousness. Then you would, so this is right now, we're in Proverbs, the book of Proverbs, chapter 2, verse 10. I'm sorry, verse 9. Then you would understand righteousness and right ruling and straightness, every good path. So, what is right ruling? Treating others how you would want to be treated, being fair, being fair to others how you would want others to be fair to you. That's right ruling. Justice for others how you would want justice for you. Straightness, every good path. Straightness is legal, legitimate, lawful, legal, legitimate, lawful. That's straightness. That's straightness. That's what he's asking. Every good path. That's all his law is asking you to do. His commandments is asking you to do. Treat others fairly. Treat others how you would want to be treated. Don't don't be unlawful to people. Don't violate people's rights. Don't violate people's rights. You don't want your rights to be violated. Be fair to others. You be fair to others. You don't want people to be unfair to you. This is what comes with this is what comes with memorizing his commands and crying out to him and asking for spiritual knowledge, wisdom, understanding, and discernment. This is what comes with it. You'll start to understand all of this. Then you will understand righteousness and right ruling and straightness, every good path. This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 2, verse 9. The book of Proverbs, chapter 2, verse 9. Then you will understand righteousness and right ruling, straightness, and every good path. This is what led, if you do everything that led up to this verse, this is what comes with it. What else comes with it? Verse 10. For wisdom would enter For wisdom will enter your heart. For wisdom will enter your heart. Spiritual wisdom will enter your heart, and knowledge be pleasant to your being. Spiritual knowledge will be pleasant to your being. Spiritual wisdom will enter your heart because it's the his spirit. You when you take on his commands, when you take on his instructions, when you take on that, what comes with that is his spirit. What comes with that, what you're doing is starting the car. You're starting your spiritual car within you. That's what you're doing. When you take on his commands and his instructions, you're starting your spiritual car within you. You're starting that car up. And what comes with it, you know how lights come on in the car and you got your check engine light going off, and you got seat belts and stuff like that going, all of that. That's your spiritual knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, and intuition, and foresight, and all that start popping up in your car within you. You got to turn your spiritual car on. You gotta let that spirit drive. That's what comes with this. Once you turn that on by following his instructions and memorizing his commands, and applying it, and actually applying it, you're driving the spirit. The spirit is driving. So now you're when you're driving as the spirit, you got certain, you got certain bells and whistles. You got all the bells and whistles. You got all the bells and whistles in the car, that, you know what I mean? You got the latest, you got the sunroof, you got the electronical screen on the dash and all that. You got all that going on. This is what the spirit is working with. You got all the bells and whistles, all the, you know what I'm saying? All of all the you know, the gadgets. Think of it like the Batmobile, or Knight Rider or something. Those who you know are old enough to remember Knight Rider. Like, you got all that, and what comes with that is, you know wisdom will enter your heart, and knowledge be pleasant to your being. So knowledge will be pleasant because it's like the spiritual knowledge. Once you start knowing, knowledge is knowing. You like, man, that was pleasing to know that. That was pleasing that I was able to know that. It's pleasing to know how to handle a situation this based on the instructions of God, based on his commandments that I memorize. It's pleasing to know how to treat a person, and how one person wants to be treated based on his instructions and his commandments that I memorized. It's pleasing to know, what to do and what not to do to keep me out of mess, or to get me out of some mess if I accidentally find myself in some mess. It's pleasing to know. It's pleasing to know this. It's pleasing to know this. So you this is what comes with it. And wisdom will enter your heart, and knowledge be pleasant to your being. Your being is your spirit. Your being is your breath of life spirit within you, not your flesh. Your flesh is, let me remind you, each of our flesh is the total opposite of this. Each of our flesh is the total opposite of this. It's the total opposite of everything, all these gifts. Each of our flesh. So when we're demonstrating wisdom and demonstrating, you know, discipline and obedience and any of that, or kindness and patience, any of those gifts, when we're demonstrating that, that's the spirit. Believe that. That's the breath of life spirit. It's not the flesh. It's not this. It's not. No, no, no. It ain't the flesh doing that. Flesh don't want to do none of that. Flesh don't want to be kind. Flesh don't want to be patient. The flesh don't want to be obedient. The flesh don't want to, be disciplined. The flesh don't want to do that. Obedient. This is the book of Proverbs. This is the book of Proverbs, by the way. Proverbs chapter 2. And we're the book of Proverbs is the most high speaking through Solomon and basically explaining how to activate the breath of life spirit within you, how to turn that engine on, turn that spiritual engine on within you, and how to drive this, and how the spirit should be driving this vehicle, driving this, ruling over this flesh, driving this flesh, ruling over this flesh, and operating this you know this vessel, this flesh. It shouldn't be the other way around, the flesh operating us, which is the true identity of the spirit, us within us. Shouldn't be that. It shouldn't be that. It should never be that. Even though, it's hard not for it, I get it. I get it. It can be complicated. We all struggle with our each of our flesh. From what it been through, what it seen that it can't unsee, what it felt that it can't unfeel, what it heard that it can't unhear, what it's done that it can't undo. We all, each of us, have to struggle and live with that, and basically deny ourselves of what it experienced that it loved it loved when it experienced it. To deny ourselves to of what it heard that it loved what it heard, what it done that it loved what it done, what it, you know what I mean? We have to deny it of that. As the breath of life spiritual children within us, this is how he's explaining how to activate that and what comes with that. What comes with it is, for wisdom would enter your heart, verse 10, chapter 2 of Proverbs, verse 10. For wisdom will enter your heart and knowledge be pleasant to your being. Verse 11. Discretion will guard you. Understanding will watch over you. This is what I was explaining. Discretion would guard you. So options, your options will guard you. It will give you other options. Like, you can go this way, which is going to lead to this, or you can go that way, which is going to lead to this. This is your discretion. These are your options. This is what comes with this wisdom, this spiritual wisdom. This is what comes with this spiritual knowledge. It's the discretion, the options to either go this way or that way. The flesh only know one way. The flesh only know one way. Is to crash out. That's the only way the flesh know, and that's the only way the flesh going to go. But the spirit, the ruach within you, the breath of life ruach within you, has the other option to stay, be patient, be wise, have discipline. Discretion will guard you. Understanding will watch over you. Understanding will watch over you. Just to entertain, like, if anyone is bothered by me wearing a hat, like, you have to show me the instruction of God where it told me not to wear a hat. You I don't want the instructions of my ancient brother Paul. Don't give me the instructions of my ancient brother Paul, or the views of my ancient brother Paul. Give me instructions of God. Give me instructions of his only begotten son. If it's not instructions of God or his only begotten son, don't you're not giving you're just giving me your opinion, because your opinion is just like it's just as it's is just as much as the opinion of my ancient brother Paul. He's my brother. So the opinion of my brother, whether it's in the past or the present, is no different from my brother now. I don't take the opinions of my brother or sister as instructions of God. If it's not in the instructions of God, which is consistent with everything else, if it's not in the teachings of the only begotten Son, which is consistent with the instructions of God, it's not a commandment to me. It's not something I obey. It's not something I obey. And this is the biggest misunderstanding of those who they look to pick something, pick a plank. They look to pick a plank instead of just keeping it moving. Granted, I don't expect most people to understand the difference between opinions of our ancient brother and the teachings of our actual master, our teacher and savior, the only begotten son of God. You have to understand that it's a big difference. Big difference. Our ancient brother Paul is no different than our brothers and sisters today. We're all followers of the teachings of the teacher. We all should be followers of the teachings of the teacher. We all should be followers of the lessons of the teacher, the only begotten Son of God. We all should be followers of that. And nowhere in that does it say don't wear a hat. Nowhere in the instructions of God it tells me not to wear a hat. Nowhere in the teachings of the teacher it tells me not to wear a hat. So you're more so a follower of Paul than you're a follower of the Son of God, because the Son of God never told me to do that. Son of God never told any of us to do that. Just say you're a follower of Paul, just like most people are a follower of their preacher. Most people are a follower of their pastor. Most people are a follower of their rabbi. Most people are followers of men, of each other. And this is the issue. This is the issue the Son of God had with most people, with Pharisees and the scribes, because they had everyone following them and following man-made traditions. I'm just saying. So back to these, discretion would guard you. Understanding would watch over you. So the discretion, the options will guard you. The options will save you and rescue you from whatever it is that you have to, whatever it is that you got to, get yourself out of or avoid getting yourself into. Having that other option, that spiritual option, having that spiritual option. Peace and love, brothers and sisters. Having that spiritual option. So, yes, discretion will guard you. Understanding will watch over you. Understanding, having a spiritual understanding will watch over you. Because once you understand his instructions, once you understand his commandments, once you understand his spiritual knowledge, you start to understand his spiritual knowledge, wisdom, and understanding and discretion. So then it'll start to watch over you. This spiritual knowledge, wisdom, understanding will watch over you like, whoa, now you're tapped into your spirit. Your flesh wants to do this, but your spirit is saying, yo, that's going to get us hurt. Doing that is going to get us this. Doing that is going to get us in prison. Doing that is going to get us um some physical, damage, some physical harm. Doing that is going to get us, caught up in some mess. Saying that is going to get us caught up in some mess. Saying that is going to make that person. All of this is starting to pop up. All of this is starting to activate. All of this is starting to, starting to click. Once you demonstrate, once discretion would guard you. Understanding will watch over you. So this spiritual knowledge, this is the spirit within you in the garden. These are spiritual gifts. Discretion is a spiritual gift. Spiritual understanding is a spiritual gift that's watching over you to, like, yo, it's watching over this flesh. This is the you that it's talking about. The flesh is you. But the true identity is the God-given spirit. That's the one who has to apply the discretion, the spiritual discretion. That's the one who has to apply the spiritual understanding. Because the flesh is a fool. The flesh is a fool. The flesh want to act a fool. The flesh is going to be a fool. It's the spirit that has to be the adult. It's the spirit that has to be the disciplined one. It's the spirit that's applying the discretion, like, yo, the other option is to do this. The other option is to chill and fall back. The other option is to be quiet and say nothing. The other option is to, you know what I'm saying, to forgive and have mercy and let that person ride. Let them be the bigger person and keep it moving. Verse 12, to deliver you from the evil way, from the man who speaks perversities. This is what comes with it. This is that discretion, that spiritual knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, and that discretion in his commandments being treasured in your heart and memorized within you. When applied, it will deliver you from the evil way. So now you like, no, I ain't going over there. I ain't going to that place. They be doing the most in that over there. They want to fight. They want to rob. They want to shoot. You know what I mean? They want to do all that. So I ain't going over there. I ain't going over there. So this is what the discretion, this is what comes with the understanding. It says it'll deliver you from the evil way, from the man who speaks perversity. So who's the man who speaks perversities? The one speaking crookedness. Likely your homie that's in the flesh, or your cousin that's in the flesh, or your brother that's in your flesh, or your relative that's in the flesh, or your friend that's in the flesh. That's the one speaking perversities and crookedness, like, yo, it's popping over there. Yo, let's go here, let's go there. This is the one trying to convince you to go down that evil way. This is the it'll deliver you from that person. So now the spirit is telling your flesh, like, no, we can't listen to him. Your spirit is telling your flesh, no, we can't listen to her. No, your spirit is telling your flesh, no, we can't go with them. Your spirit is telling your flesh, like, yo, remember what happened last time. And your flesh is trying to ignore it constantly. I guarantee this is happening. I'm not the only one, because everybody is in this flesh. Each of us have flesh, and if you're here, you obviously have you obviously have tapped into the spirit enough to know what I'm talking about. your flesh will try to ignore what people call your guilty conscience, or your conscience is telling you no, or don't go, or stop, or that was wrong, or no, that's your spirit. That voice within you, that's your spirit telling you, like, that's your discretion that you tapped in by doing by being obedient in some form of fashion to the instructions of God, by having and not having having memorized, you know, the commandments of God in some form of fashion. You may not have them all down packed, but you know enough for you to have them memorized enough to be able to apply that, to be able to apply that. And if you weren't here, I follow I don't I don't follow the instructions of my ancient brother, Paul. Removing my cap is an opinion of my ancient brother Paul, and may have been a misinterpret opinion of my ancient brother Paul. It's not the instructions of God. Removing my cap is not the instructions of God. Removing my cap is not the teachings of the Son of God. So if you weren't here, then that's how I explained all that. So I don't follow instructions of my ancient brother or present brothers, or past present brothers. I don't follow flesh. I don't follow my brothers and sisters and their instructions. I don't follow if unless they can show me where it's instructed by our God, or instructed by our only leader, our only teacher, his only begotten son, unless they can show me where it's instructed or taught by them too, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. I don't follow it. I don't I I take it with a grain of salt, like a present brother, like a brother and sister today have said it. You can't show me nowhere where this is instructed by God or taught by his only begotten son. So please don't ask me to remove no hat, because it's not instructions of God, and it's not teachings of his only begotten son. The only two people we should be following. Not people, forgive me. The only two entities. Only two entities we should follow and listen to. That's that. To deliver you from the evil way, from the man who speaks perversities. From the man who speaks perversity. So this knowledge, wisdom, understanding, this spiritual knowledge, wisdom, understanding will deliver you from this man who speak, or woman that's speaking crookedness. This man or woman that's speaking crookedness, trying to talk you and seduce you into going somewhere you ain't got no business going. Trying to talk you in or seduce you to, doing something you ain't got no business doing. You know what I mean? So this is what it does. What else does it do? Verse 13, those who leave the path. So this is describing the man who speaks perversity. To deliver you from the evil way. This is the book of Proverbs, by the way. Book of Proverbs, chapter 2, verse verse 12. And you got to know, you in order to activate what he's speaking of in verse 12, you got to, everything that was spoken prior, that led up to chapter to verse 12. That's how to activate this. That's how to activate these gifts. That's how to activate this spiritual knowledge, wisdom, understanding, insight, foresight, intuition, discretion, discipline, all that. To deliver you from the evil way, from the man who speaks perversities, those who leave the paths of straightness. to walk in the ways of darkness. So this is the description. This is the description of your homies. This is the description of your flesh. This is the description of your cousin, your relatives. This is the description of your friends. This is the description. So this is the description is describing who this person is. So you can identify this person, in your circle around you. You can identify him and know what to look for and know what to look out for him for and stay off and stay off and stay away from, or know who to be delivered from. This person who leaves the paths of straightness. So they left the path of lawfulness, being lawful, being legal, being legitimate. So anyone who left the path of being lawful, legal, and legitimate, whether it's spiritually lawful, or spiritually legal, or spiritual legitimate, or earthly lawful, or earthly legitimate. Anyone who left the path of either one, this is who they talking about. To walk in the ways of darkness. The ways of darkness, man. The ways of darkness. Anything unlawful is definitely the ways of darkness, man. Anything illegal, whether worldly or spiritual, is the ways of darkness. It's no mistake. It's really no mistake. It's no mistake. The Most High don't make any mistakes. If it's illegal, if it's unlawful, if it's not legitimate, you're walking in the ways of darkness. So anyone who's illegal, unlawful, and illegitimate, they're walking in the ways of darkness. This is a person that you have to be delivered from. This is a person that your spirit has to deliver your flesh from. This is a person that your spirit has to deliver your flesh from. To deliver your flesh from following, to deliver your flesh from listening to that person, to deliver your flesh from going with that person, to deliver your flesh from being seduced and persuaded by this person. Because this person, this is a person who left the path of straightness, which is lawfulness, to walk in the ways of darkness. Verse 14, who rejoice to do evil. They delight in perversities of evil. So a person that rejoices to do evil, now your flesh rejoices to do evil. Each of our flesh rejoices to do evil. Each of our fleshes delight in perversities of evil. But it's our breath of life, spiritual child of God within us that's denying it to do that, depriving the flesh to do from doing that. But if you have a person that's not allowing their spirit to deny their flesh from doing that, oh, you gotta watch that person. You gotta stay away from that person. That's a person you have to be delivered from. That's a person you have to be delivered from. A person who rejoices to do evil, like they rejoice to have lied to somebody. They rejoice and delighted in telling a lie about somebody. They rejoiced and delighted in stealing from somebody. They rejoiced and delighted in sleeping with somebody's spouse. They rejoiced and delighted in unaliving somebody. They rejoiced and delighted in, you know, coveting somebody's belongings. They rejoiced and delighted in disrespecting their dishonoring their parents. They rejoiced and delighted in bringing the name of the Most High to nothing. They rejoiced and delighted in, you know, doing their own thing on a day of rest, on a day of was a day that's supposed to be set apart. They rejoiced and delighted in this. You got to be delivered from a person from like that. You got to be delivered from a person like that. We got to be delivered from a person like that. Let alone we got to be delivered from ourselves if we're like that, when we're like that. Because our flesh is like that. Our flesh is like that. Our flesh can be that. So we are our spirit, our own spirits are, it's enough that our own spirits is one thing that our own spirits are trying to deliver ourselves from that, but you also got to you also have to you have to deliver your flesh from other people that they don't they don't they don't tap into their spirit to deliver their own flesh from this. You know what I mean? Each of our flesh, each of our flesh loves doing this and loves doing that. Each of our flesh. It's the spirit of God within us, the spiritual child of God within us that have to stop the flesh from doing all that. Each of our flesh. Each of our flesh is on that. So whatever plank you want to pick out of somebody else's eye or pick out of my eye, you could point to your own self too. I can't pick no plank out of nobody else out because I know it's one thing that I gotta rule over my own flesh. I gotta stop my own flesh from wanting to from doing evil because it wants to do evil. I gotta stop my own flesh from saying evil because it wants to say evil. You know what I mean? But you have people that go around and assume and don't know what the it just shows them how much they're ruled by their flesh, because it's not, if you're ruled by your spirit, if you're ruled by the breath of life spirit within you, you're not making assumptions. You're not just assuming, and just saying anything and just typing anything just to be typing, or talking to just to be talking. You're not doing that. And this is what most people are doing. They're jumping in and out of people, platforms and lives, and assume. And like, dude, like who are like you like we can't judge each other because we all are in flesh. Each of us are battling our flesh. Each of us has a duty to rule over our flesh. Each of our flesh is corrupt. Each of our flesh is wicked and evil. Each of our flesh has experienced our sinners. So it's the spiritual children of God within us that has to deal with this every day. That have to deal with this every day. And if you don't know how to deal with it, then the flesh is dealing with you. And the flesh is basically your flesh is driving the car. Now you're saying things that you think you should say, but it's your own, it's your flesh saying it. It's not your spirit saying it, because your spirit would stay quiet. Your spirit would observe. Your spirit would be silent. Your spirit doesn't assume and make a behind out of itself. The spirit doesn't make these mistakes. The spirit makes no mistakes, man. The spirit, listen, the ruach say less and listens more. The spirit listens more and says less. It's the flesh that get the bumping off. It's the flesh that get the typing. You know what I mean? It's the flesh that get into all that. It's not the spirit. It's not the ruach. It's not the spiritual child of God. It's not. It's the flesh that get into all this. It's the flesh that get into all that. Only time you hear the spirit is kindness. Only time you hear the spirit is spiritual wisdom, spiritual knowledge, spiritual understanding, humbleness. You know the difference. Once you start to tap in enough, you get tapped into the instructions of God and his commandments and memorize them in his spiritual knowledge, wisdom, understanding, you hear it enough, you know when the spirit is talking out of a person. You know the difference from whether it's the spirit talking or their flesh talking. The spirit ain't going off and calling people out of their names. The spirit ain't calling people out of their names. The spirit ain't, slandering people. The spirit ain't, judging people. The spirit ain't judging individuals. The spirit judges indirectly. The spirit judged the sin, not the sinner. The spirit judged the evil, not the evildoer. He doesn't go pointing to you, and trying to get a plank out of somebody's eye. No, the spirit is more so pointing. It's going to tell you their own evil first. The spirit is going to expose the flesh that they're in first. I'm just saying you got to know the difference. And these people who rejoice to do evil, you got to watch out for them. That's the flesh. They rejoice to do wickedness. They delight in it. Each just like all of our flesh delights in it. But not everyone is stopping the flesh from doing it. And you want to get to the point where you're stopping the flesh. That's all he's asking you. Stop the flesh from what it wants to do. That's Stop the flesh from what it wants to do. Stop the flesh from what it wants to say. Stop the flesh from where it wants to go. Stop the flesh of who it wants to be with. Stop the flesh from who it wants to talk about. Stop the flesh from doing it. That's all he's asking us to do. Because the flesh wants to do it. The flesh wants to clap back. The flesh wants to talk about this person and gossip and slander. And the flesh wants to get into all that. Verse 15. This is the person you have to look out for within yourself, your flesh, and people who, are operating in their flesh, who rejoice to do evil. They delight in perversities of evil, whose paths are crooked and they are perverted in their ways. Paths are crooked and they are perverted in their ways. Like they obviously live in a life of crime. Living a life of crime, perverted in their ways. They seek to, sleep with people's spouse. They seek to sleep with people and not have any engagement at all with them. This is what the flesh wants to do. Flesh wants to live a life of crime. The flesh wants to sleep with people and not have any engagement. Come on, man. It's easy it's easy to spot these people because some of that stuff you can spot in your own flesh. So anything that you got to stop yourself from doing that people aren't stopping themselves from doing, that's an easy way to that's an easy sign to be like, yo, I got to chill off of you. I got to chill off of you. I gotta keep my eye on you. I gotta stay away from you. I got Bad enough, I got to stay away from myself, like my flesh. Meaning I got to stop my own self from wanting to do that. And you not helping me. You doing that and not stopping yourself is not helping me. This ain't going to work. This ain't going to work. Verse 16, to deliver you from the strange. This is what else it delivered you from. This is who else it delivered you. So that was the strength. That was the man who speaks perversities. The man who speaks perversities is those who left the path of straightness to walk in darkness, who rejoice to do evil and delight in perversities of evil, and whose paths are crooked and they are perverted in their ways. That was the man who speak perversities. Now we're about to get into the woman, the strange woman, and how the spiritual knowledge, wisdom, understanding, his instructions and his commandments help us, will deliver us from this strange woman. To deliver you from the strange woman, from the foreigner who flatters with her words. So this is a woman, that a stranger who flatters with her words. This is a stranger, a woman you just seen and never met, and she's flattering you with her words. Some words are genuine compliments. Some words are genuine, genuine. But you have to know the difference. The discernment, what the spiritual discernment will help you know the difference. The spiritual knowledge, wisdom, understanding will help you know when they up to no good. Verse 17, this is their description. They flatter with their words, who forsake the companion of their youth, and has forgotten the covenant of their God. Forgotten the covenant of their Elohim, meaning they forgot the instructions of God. They forgot the commandments of God. They forgot the laws of his government, and they forsake the companion of their youth, like their first love. They cheated on their first love, and they may have been violated. Who knows? Most likely they've been violated in their youth. Most strange women, most strange women have been violated in their youth. And so it's like really not their fault, but at the same time, you have to, once you have to, this is why it's an urgency to get to know the instructions of God and memorize his commandments, so that you can hold yourself accountable, just like a man has to hold himself accountable. The spiritual child of God has to hold him, hold just each man, male and female, has to hold themselves accountable once they memorize these commandments. Once they know the instructions of God and the laws of his government. Once they know this spiritual knowledge, wisdom, understanding, you have to hold yourself accountable. The spirit, you have to allow the spirit to hold your flesh accountable. And this is and these are people who don't hold themselves accountable. Our flesh doesn't want that, but it's our duty of the spirit that to do it, to do it anyway. But if those you have people who are ignoring their spirit, who are drowning out their spirit through intoxication, basically putting themselves under the influence and numbing themselves from it, then you're gonna have this is what you're gonna have. People that are embracing being men who speak perversities, and women who who flatter with their words, strange women who flatter with their words, who have forgotten the covenant of their God, and forsaken the companion of their youth, their first love. Verse 18, for her house has sunk down to death, and her paths to the dead. Her house has sunk down to death, and her paths to the dead. This is what everyone who dealt with her find themselves in jail or in the grave, unalive or in prison. Everyone who dealt with her. Everyone who dealt with her has find themselves unalive or in prison. Verse 19, none going in her does return, nor do they reach the path of life. And mind you, this is a woman who embraced being this strange woman, basically the one who basically ignores the spirit all day, that spirit voice. We all have that spirit voice telling you, don't do that. Yo, that's not nice. Say sorry. That's not something we should do. You don't want that done to you. Blah, 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 blah. This is what's going on. This is what's said. If you know the instructions of God and his commandments, you have that in you, you have that voice. If you ignore that voice and you drink to ignore that voice and you put yourself under the influence to ignore that voice, you're going to become a strange woman. You're going to become a man who speaks perversities. You're going to embrace your flesh because you numbed yourself from the spirit voice. You numbed yourself from the spirit that's telling you stop, don't do it. No. That's why I don't recommend you being under the influence of anything. It's already hard enough to stop the flesh. It's already tough enough to stop the flesh. And you making it tougher to stop the flesh by silencing the spirit, the voice of the spirit, with by putting yourself under the influence of something. None going into her does return, nor do they reach the path of life. They don't reach the path of life, which is the spirit realm, the spiritual kingdom. That's the path to actual life. We have life now, that spirit. The flesh isn't life. It's the spirit, it's the consciousness, which is life. Consciousness within us. It's the spirits within us. It's the life. It's like it's like a battery in a device. The battery is, the device can't operate without batteries. An appliance can't operate without electric. That's us with the spirit. We're not conscious without it. The breath of God. That's our electric. That's our electric. That's life. So to get to the source of that electric, to get to the source of that, to get back to the source of that, it's like that's what so you got to stay away from these men of perversities who speak perversities in strange women who flatter with their words. None going into her return, nor do they reach the path of life. Verse 20, so walk in the way of goodness. So walk in the way of goodness and guard the paths of righteousness. The way of goodness is treating people good, doing good to others, doing what is good. and guarding the paths of righteousness, guarding his commandments, guarding them, guarding them, meaning following them, applying them, memorizing them, prioritizing them. So walk in the way of goodness and guard the paths of righteousness, which is his commandments. The path of righteousness is the path of the spirit that walks in his, basically steers this flesh where the flesh doesn't want to go, which is the path of righteousness. The flesh doesn't want to go down the path of righteousness. But the flesh doesn't want to go down the path of righteousness. Trust me, I know. I have a flesh. It's just as hard for me, just as hard for you. Verse 21, for the straight shall dwell in the earth, and the perfect be left in it. What does he mean by this? The straight should dwell in the earth. The straight are the lawful. The straight are those who follow the laws, who obey the laws of the spiritual government. That's the straight. Those who walk in integrity, those who treat others how they would want to be treated. For the straight shall dwell in the earth, and the perfect be left in it. Who are the perfect? Those who perfected the spirit to steer, to basically steer the flesh where it was, where the flesh don't want to go. When you perfect that, it's not about you. The flesh is imperfect. The flesh is imperfect. So it's not talking about your flesh being perfect. It's just your spirit can only be perfect. And what I mean by perfect is it's the spirit that is perfect by ruling over this flesh. Stopping it from treating people how it doesn't want to be treated itself. Stopping people, that's what it comes down to. It's denying the flesh from treating people how itself doesn't want to be treated. That's all it really comes down to. That's what perfection is in the spirit. You can't be perfect. The flesh is imperfect. So you got to deny the flesh imperfect self from crashing out. Deny that flesh imperfect self from doing foolishness. And you'll be left in the earth. You'll be left in the kingdom, the spiritual kingdom. But if not, it says, but the wrong shall be cut off from the earth. Those who do people wrong, treat people wrong, do what is wrong, they'll be cut off from the earth. Those who do people wrong, do what is wrong, and treat people wrong and say what is wrong, they'll be cut off from the earth. That's what all the prophecies are leading up to. Everything that we see going on today, from the small corners of our lives to the biggest stage of the world, is prophecies leading up to cutting off the wrong from this earth. Is cutting off the wrong from the earth. That's what all the prophecies are leading up to. Everything that's going on as we speak is that's what it's leading to. Is leading up to. For the straight should dwell in the earth, and the perfect shall be left in it. So it's everyone's flesh is imperfect. But what makes you set apart What makes you different, what show yourself to be a spiritual child of God, the few who are acknowledging that their flesh is imperfect, acknowledging that their flesh is the problem, acknowledging that their flesh is wicked, corrupt, and ruling over it, denying it from what it wants to say, do, and go, depriving it from treating others how they don't want to be treated. That's what sets you apart. That's what gets you in the kingdom. It's that simple. But you have to do it in the fashion of how the only begotten son told you to do it. You got to do it in the fashion of how, and that's what gets you in. That's what give you reservations to the kingdom. But the wrong shall be cut off from the earth, and the treacherous ones plucked out of it. That's what these prophecies are leading up to, is plucking out the treacherous. Those who not considering anyone. That was the book of Proverbs chapter 2. We're going to get into the book of Ecclesiastes chapter 4. Book of Ecclesiastes chapter 4, verse 1. Then I looked again at all the oppression that is done under the sun, and see the tears of the oppressed, but they have no comforter, and power on the side of their oppressors, but they have no comforter. Sounds familiar? Verse 2. Therefore I commended the dead who were already dead more than the living who are still alive. He commended the unalive more than the living who are still alive. Why so? Verse 3. And better than both is he who has never existed, who has not seen the evil work that is done under the sun, because that he's making a point how much evil is done under the sun, how much we are exposed to this evil. What we seen that we can't unsee, what we heard that we can't unhear, what we experienced, what we felt that we can't unfeel, what we've done that we can't undo. He's saying better than both is he who has never existed, who has not seen the evil work that is done under the sun. This book ain't for the weak hearted or the weak, man. You gotta be built to hear this and read it. You gotta be built spiritually tough. Verse 4. And I saw that all the toil and skill of the work bring envy between man and his neighbor. That too is futile and feeding on wind. So all the work, all the toil and skill of the work bring envy between men. So you got like this is what Solomon noticing that we still have, that we still see today. You put in all this work just for your friend to be envious of you, just for your family, your relative to be envious of you. You put in all this work for a family and friends to be envious. That's wicked. That's evil. That's what he says. He says like it's futile, feeding on wind. And I saw that all the toil and skill of the work bring envy between man and his neighbor. Bring envy between man and his neighbor. That's what putting all this work in. You trying to build your career. You trying to build a life for your family. You try to build a life for your community. You try to give back to your community, and all this work that you're putting in, it's all it is creating envy between you and your neighbor. To this day is doing this. This is the book of Ecclesiastes, by the way, chapter 4, verse 4. And I saw that all the toil and skill of the work bring envy between man and his neighbor. That too is futile and feeding on wind. Verse 5. The fool folds his hands and consumes his own flesh. This is what the flesh does. The flesh is the fool. Each of our flesh is the fool. And we self-destruct. We self-destruct if we don't allow the spirit to intervene. If we don't allow our true identity, spiritual child of God, to intervene, the flesh will self-destruct. Verse 6. Better is a hand filled with rest than both hands filled with toil and feeding on wind. It's better to chill regular, man, and rest your neck. It's better to chill regular and rest your neck than toil and have your neighbors envy you. Toil to the point your neighbors envy you for your toil, envy you for your success, envy you for your work, envy you for you being blessed. Verse 7. Then I looked again at futility under the sun. Verse 8. There is one without a second, who has neither son nor brother, and there is no end to all his labor. His eye also is not satisfied with riches. And for whom am I toiling and depriving myself of good? That too is futile and in the evil task in the evil task, when one has no son and no brother to basically share his, you know, the fruits of his labor with, or leave the fruits of his labor with. Verse 9. Two are better than one, because they have a good reward for their labor. Two is better than one. It's better to have someone to do life with. It's better to have a life partner to do this life with. Two are better than one, because they have a good reward for their labor. Verse 10. For if they fall, one lifts his companion up. But woe to him who is alone when he falls, for he has no one to help him up. We have to this speaks to me. Like, this speaks to most people who are alone in life. And you know it, for the most part we stay alone because it's hard to trust people, and people don't know how to check themselves. People don't know how to, you can't trust people to check themselves. So this is why most people are alone, because you can't trust people to, you know, keep it 100 as far as like to rule over their flesh, their own flesh, to stop themselves from doing things that, you know, they don't want done to them. It's hard to trust a person to do to rule over themselves. But it's a must that you have a person, because this life requires labor. This life requires labor. That's the curse. Man was cursed with labor. So since man was cursed with labor since day one, you need help. You need help in this life. You need someone to help you with that labor. That way, if you fall, you have help. You have help. So yeah, we have to find someone we can trust. Verse 10, for if they fall, one lifts his companion up, but woe to him who is alone when he falls, for he has no one to help him up. Verse 11, also, if two lie down together, they keep warm. But how does one keep warm by himself? How does one keep warm by himself? This is facts. Verse 12, although one might be overpowered, two withstand him. In a threefold cord is not readily broken. So one, two, three, when you got a brother or a sister or a partner that can help you fight off, whatever it is that, or fight off whatever they need to fight off, it can do that. But by yourself, it's tough to do. Verse 13, a poor and wise youth is better than an old and foolish sovereign, meaning a king, who no longer knows how to take warning. Verse 14, for he comes out of prison to be sovereign, to be king, although in his reign he was born poor. Verse 15, I have seen all the living who walk under the sun. They were with the second youth who stands in his place. Verse 16, there was no end of all the people, all of whom he headed. But the one who come afterward do not rejoice in him, for that too is futile and feeding on wind. So, you know, a person that's in position, the people that come, the next generation is not going to give them the same respect as the generation that they are in, and so on and so on. People who are in position of power and position of, you know, respect right now, the youth that's coming, they're not going to respect that person, have no respect for that person whatsoever. They're not going to respect them like you respect them. They're not going to appreciate them how you appreciate them because they don't know them. They didn't experience them. They didn't live to see what they were, what they've done that you appreciate. They didn't live to see they didn't live to see what that person done that you appreciate in that person and what you respect in that person. So they're going to come along and disrespect that person and have no attachment, no nothing, you know, they have no feeling for that person. So that leads to disrespect. And this is the youth that's coming. The youth is coming is not going to respect your favorite artist, your favorite, you know, politician, your favorite, you know, celebrity, your favorite anything, favorite anybody. The youth that's coming is not going to, you know what I mean? They're not going to see it how you see it or feel it how you feel that person. Like, so they're likely going to have no feelings for that person, no respect for that person. And this explains what we see today. You have a lot of celebrities being disrespected. A lot of people being disrespected that had respect in the prior generation, had respect 10 years ago, 20 years ago. They don't have respect now because it's a new generation that have no feelings for that person, didn't witness what that person did. what that person, been through and what they did for others. And this is from the small to the big, communities to the big stage. That completes that completes that completes the reading of tonight. I read the book of Psalms, chapter 40 to 42, the book of Proverbs chapter 2, and the book of Ecclesiastes chapter 4. Um Hallel Yah, hallelujah, praise Yah, may all glory be to Yah, Yahuwah, Shabuov, Yahuwah, Almighty, Yahuwah, Most High, Yahuwah, El Shaddai. Thank you, Yahuwah, thank you, Yahushua, Yahushua HaMashiach, son of Yah. It was you who said, when two or three are gathered in your name, you are amongst us, you are with us. It is written, it is recorded, it is documented. You saying this. So with that being documented, written, it is written. With that being said, Master Yahushua HaMashiach, son of Yah, I ask that since you are in our midst, I ask that you help those who are gathering in your name, even though it's virtual. I ask that you help those heal from whatever it is we need to heal from. Whatever it is our loved ones need to heal from. Whatever it is our friends, relatives, community, anyone in our community need to heal from. I ask that you help us with that. Master Yahushua HaMashiach, son of Yah, since you are in our midst, even though it's virtual, those who are gathered in your name, I ask that you help us find comfort in whatever it is we need to find comfort in. Find comfort from whatever it is we need to find comfort from. Find relief from whatever it is we need to find relief in. Find relief from whatever it is we need to find relief from. Master Yahushua HaMashiach, son of Yah, I ask that you help us understand the instructions of your father. Know the difference from the instructions of your father and the teachings of yours. Know the difference from your teachings, the instructions of your father, and the opinions of our each other, the opinions of our brothers and sisters, in the instructions of our brothers and sisters, and the misinterpretation of the opinions and instructions of our brothers and sisters. Know the difference. Know that there's a difference. Help us understand that. Help us understand that we follow you. We follow your examples. We follow your lessons. We follow your demonstrations. We follow your teachings and your teachings alone. We follow the instructions of your father like you followed them. We follow the commandments of your father like you follow them. We obey the spiritual laws of your father's government as you did. We don't follow the instructions of each other. We don't follow the opinions and laws of each other. We don't do that. Help us get better at that. Help us have compassion. Help us have mercy. Help us forgive. As hard it is that our flesh doesn't want to have compassion, as hard as it is that our flesh doesn't want to have mercy, as hard as it is that our flesh doesn't want to forgive, as hard as it is that our flesh doesn't want to love our neighbors, our flesh doesn't want to help us love them anyway. Our flesh doesn't want to love our enemies, help us love them anyway. Our flesh doesn't want to like strangers or love strangers or do good for anyone that don't do good for us and speak to people that don't speak to us. Help us do that anyway, because it's hard for our flesh to do it. Help our spirits within us do it anyway. Help us be better. Help us be obedient. Help us trust. Help us trust. Give us that assurance. Give us that assurance, that insurance, that assurance, that confidence. Give us that confidence that we have life to look forward to. We have more life to look forward to. More life to extend in your in your in your in the kingdom. Help us be confident in that. Help us know that. Strong faith in that. Strong belief in that. Help us put the pride aside, the ego aside. Help us be humble and less proud. Help us be humble and less proud. Help us humble ourselves. Help us humble ourselves in the privacy of our own home and cry, fall on our faces and cry out to your Father. Cry out to your Father and ask for help. Admit where we are weak. Admit where our flesh is winning over us. Admit that our flesh is winning over us. Admit that our flesh wants to do this, that, and the third, and we just want to get better at parenting it, parenting our flesh, parenting our flesh, stopping it from what it wants to say, stopping it from what it wants to do, stopping it from where it wants to go, stopping it from how it wants to get back at people, who it wants to be with, and who it wants to talk about, what it wants to say about others, and what it wants to say to others. Help us get better. Until next time, let it be, Master. Let it be. Peace, love, shalom, shalom, peace, and love.